Hey friends, I was talking to one of my buddies today who said this one-liner that stuck with me throughout the day, which was, "Good cultures are expensive." And I was like, "It's interesting." I said, "Why?" And she said, "Well, hiring is a really long, expensive process, and it costs a lot of money to bring in great talent. Like that's expensive." And I was like, "Okay, I get that." She also said, amenities, they start to add up. If you want to compete against other organizations, whatever, you need to have kind of like the best cold brew. You need to have the best perks. It's like, okay, fine. And then I was thinking, bad cultures are more expensive. So a bad culture is definitely something you don't want. That means people are not engaged. That means that they're getting less sales. They're accomplishing less story points. They're more dumb emails being sent. Bigger risk of lawsuits. Like bad culture, no bueno. And great talent figures out that it's a bad culture. They're the ones who talk to their friends and realize, oh, that's not a nice place to work. And the Glassdoor reviews prove it. And you might actually have, as an organization, have to slip into things like extrinsic motivation. Like you have to pay more to keep your highest performers. So if you're listening for those kinds of things, that's signs of a bad culture. Now, there's got to be some cheap and easy ways to build a good culture. And so I was thinking, it's like, how could I make a good culture without spending any money? So, number one, recognition. Super cheap, super easy, takes barely any time. You want to elevate excellence. So whether it's sending a note to somebody privately, I know not a lot of people are physically in the office, but a handwritten note is so much better than an email or a Slack message. But if you can't do that, elevate it. Bring it up at a big team meeting, bring it up at a place where, they'll get a little bit more airtime and, praise them. Second piece is SBI your problem children. So situation, behavior, impact your problem children. So situation, behavior, impact, real straightforward. You describe a situation from your perspective. You describe the behavior that you observed from your perspective. Then you talk about the impact that it had on you. And you do this with your problem children. You find the thing that is really bothersome. That is that friction point in that bad culture, because every organization has that kind of like problem child. And find a way that you can address it. You give some feedback and you document it in an email after the conversation, so that in the event that you need to let that person go in the future, you've given some real substantial feedback. And if you make a habit of this SBI, you're going to build that great culture without spending any money. It's just spending a little bit of time giving feedback. And the third piece is getting a senior leader to talk about failure. Now, I love talking about failure. If you listen to the podcast, that I love talking about failure. But when you have a senior leader talk about failure, it changes the power dynamic of everyone else. Is that if a leader can come up and say, I failed, I messed up, this is a big deal, it costs this much money, you're letting that person be humble and you're norming this kind of, hey, it's okay to talk about failure, and hey, we're an organization that embraces failure, honesty, transparency. These are all the markers of a good culture. So just having a senior leader just talk about it, maybe at an all hands or maybe at a lunch and learn. You don't have to organize anything really fancy. You just have them say, I done messed up. So hopefully these three things are helpful. If you want to talk more, this is what I nerd out about. So talk to me more.